I'm Josh with Waupaca Community Media, and we're here for our weekly Waupaca update with Ron Sari from the Waupaca School District and Aaron Jensen from the Save Waupaca. How are you guys doing?
Terrific.
And the number one thing we need to talk about today, Ron, is school registration is underway. You're looking for everyone to be registered by Sunday, and it is very important that people do so, and you're not quite halfway yet. So what's so important about this?
Well, in order for us to continue to do our planning, we need that data. We need to know which students were put into the in-person learning, which students the parents signed up for to be a remote live or a remote on demand. We also need them through this registration process to formally notify yes or no if their child will be riding the bus, so that our bus company can accurately get the times out of when the pickups and drop-offs are and their routes. So it's very important. We ask that everybody do this through Sunday. And we only have, as we speak right now, 937 students registered, and we have 2,150 students. It is coming in, like the survey data told us before, approximately 70-ish to 75-ish in-person percent of our students in person, and a little over 20% also are choosing one of the two remote. So yeah, I can't emphasize that enough, Josh. Thanks for bringing that up right away.
And for the students that will be physically coming back to school this fall, a lot's going to look different, whether it's students wearing masks, physical distancing, maybe how lunch or recess or other activities are structured throughout the day. And I know you want to talk a little bit about parents preparing their students for some of these differences.
Exactly. You know, I think everybody realizes that learning is going to be different in 2021. I mean, it's obvious for the remote learners, but in-person learning also, we're gonna really be stressing the importance of staying 6 feet apart. We're going to be stressing the importance of wearing a mask at all times, except when those possible mask breaks that teachers may say it's appropriate to take your mask off. Obviously, if we're outside and 6 feet apart, we can do that. We're going to try to be outside as often as we can. I mean, inclement weather, that's one thing. And when it gets to winter, that's a whole different story. But it's going to look different. And you're going to see students eating in their classrooms. In some of the grade levels, you're going to see students in the secondary being assigned to an area that they're going to have to be at. Just and part of the reason is because when students are going to be tested positive for COVID, and we do our contact tracing, we don't want to have to shut the school down. So if we're staying 6 feet away and we have our masks on, we're not going to be considered a close contact and have to then quarantine. Whereas if we're not wearing our masks and we're not staying 6 feet apart, those individuals are going to have to be quarantined. And so if we can eliminate that, we can keep the school open and we can keep the in-person learning going.
And I want to jump over there, and you bring up wearing masks this fall. And Aaron, there's a group in Waupaca making masks. So for people looking for a mask, what can they do?
Yeah, this group, I think they're called the Waupaca Medical Masking Group, and they've been making cloth masks really since this whole thing started back in probably late May, June. They've made thousands of masks, and when they got to the state order, I think they only had about 4 left within a day or two. So they've ramped up their efforts again, and the lobby in between City Hall and the library is a place where someone can pick up a mask if they don't have one yet, or if they need another one, or whatever it may be. No charge, they can just come and grab one. So that's a cool thing that group is doing for the community, and just it's acts like that make our community great. And I think if anyone needs one, or if anyone knows of anyone that needs one, just give us a call or stop on by.
And another thing that our community can do that would be great this fall is working together, having patience, and being respectful about the school year. It's gonna look different whether you're at home or whether you're physically in the building, and having patience and respect through any hiccups or any glitches that come along the way is really going to make the difference in the school year, Ron.
Yeah, we've been using the word grace, to have grace from the district standpoint, that this is new for us. It's new for our parents. It's new for our students. We're implementing Schoology. We've talked about that before. It's a learning management system, and all of our students, whether it's in person or remote, are going to be using it. And we think it's going to provide a better teaching and learning format for us. But because it's new and we're learning, we just ask people to have grace, meaning patience, understanding that there's going to be these mistakes possibly or misunderstandings. And so that's a piece of it. And the other is, when you use the word respect, Josh, I'm thinking of, well, we're being told it's not if people are going to be diagnosed with positive COVID tests, but when. And not pointing blame at somebody who happens to get this COVID, and just being respectful of them, and hoping that everybody collaborates and cooperates and shares information through the contact tracing process to keep our numbers down so that we can stay open. As a school district, our goal is to open up on September 1 and stay open throughout the year. And I know we're opening with a lot of restrictions because of the state of our county with how many people have been diagnosed with COVID. But if we do practice as much as possible those safety pieces of the new healthy Waupaca way of washing our hands frequently, staying 6 feet apart, being conscious of that, and wearing a mask as much as possible, that's just going to help all of us keep our buildings open and our schools open, because that's really what our preference is when it comes to teaching and learning.
Another big thing that just happened yesterday is the primary election, Aaron.
Yeah, so we had elections yesterday at the rec center, like we always do. Sandy and Barb, our clerk and deputy clerk, did a great job as always, all of our poll workers. So I'm going to use this as a little bit of a segue. So I meant to talk about the turnout. It was about 20% of all of our registered voters within the city turned out, which is pretty good for this election, actually, smaller election. Most of those are absentee voters. I don't have exact numbers on that, but I'm going to use this as a segue and as a little bit of a plug for anyone who has not been involved in elections as a poll worker. We're going to probably need you in November. So, obviously there was kind of a shortage this last spring in the April elections. We're anticipating something similar this November. I've already had a couple people reach out to me, say, hey, how do I get involved? Younger people, which is awesome. And we'll get them trained up before that November time period and get you in touch with Sandy, our clerk. So call City Hall if you're interested. Again, 715-258-4411, or shoot us an email, and we'll start preparing for that November election.
And another theme we've been talking about is the increase in residential properties and new homes being built. And right now there's some work being done in the Woodland Parks Estate subdivision. Tell us about that project. Yeah,
so if you're a resident in that Woodland Parks Estate subdivision, a lot of people call it the Swan Park subdivision, you're probably noticing a little bit of increased activity over the last couple of weeks. That's a result of the city has sold 16 lots to Green Tree Construction. They're starting to clear some lots and actually starting to pour some foundations up there. So we know that, that's a neighborhood that has probably seen maybe a home or two go up a year. With the amount of homes that will go up in the next 36 months, being 16, there's going to be a little more activity. And we know that there's some things that come with that activity that can be kind of maybe a little bit of a pain, but not necessarily anything that we can, they're private lots. There's nothing that we really can do to alleviate some of that stuff. And I know Green Tree has been very, very good. If there is something that we hear from a resident, we'll give them a call up and say, hey, is there something we can do to lessen maybe the impact of the neighbors up there? And they've been, oh yeah, very responsive and said, wait, we'll take that extra step to do that. If contractors are speeding or anything like that through the neighborhood, or, give us a call and we'll make sure we take care of it. But there's going to be a little bit of disruption. But I think that the important part is that we're going to have a built out neighborhood when it's all said and done. And that's what the neighborhood is supposed to look like, right? That neighborhood is supposed to be built out. And I think the finished product is going to be more quality housing for our current residents and for our prospective residents. And ultimately, that's a real positive. So we just thank the residents up there for kind of putting up with a little bit of disturbance in the next several months, and feel free to call us if you have any questions. So.
And to close out our discussion this week, people that head downtown are going to notice a little bit of artwork.
Yeah, they are. So it's kind of cool. They're really, really eye-catching. There are some awesome banners that our street department hung that the arts board collaborated on the community with for a project, and it makes it feel very, very vibrant down here, which is awesome. That's what we're going. Very colorful. So come on downtown. Maybe have you posted anything on Facebook with pages or with pictures of those, Josh?
I think I shared one of their posts about it.
All right, give them a little sneak peek and then make them come down and see it in person. But it looks great, and we encourage you guys all to come down to Main Street, not only to see those banners, but to stop into our local businesses and pay them a visit. And then actually, in addition to that, there's kind of a kindness flags project that was done. You'll see some things strung up along City Hall. That was a result of an art project too. So that'll be around till this weekend, and then I think they're taking it down. The wind has picked up since they put it up, and a couple of them have blown around. But so yeah, come on downtown as always. But there's something a little different to check out over the next week or two.
Well, Ron, Aaron, thanks for making time again this week to get our community up to date with everything going on.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Josh.
Thank you.